Hey everybody, how you doing today? It is good to be with you. Sorry, I was actually caught at a family function. Doesn't happen all the time, but it is good to be with all of you. I told Councilman Rea, I should tell him next time just take over. It's a lot more fun, but it is a cold day, but an exciting day in Kansas City, and we're excited to be with everyone here today. First thing I wanted to note was a thank you. Everybody who is working on this project, who has been a key part of the project, give yourselves a round of applause and let you warm up a little bit, too. I will note, gentlemen in the back, I was talking about y'all too. You may not have clapped for yourselves, but I know you're doing very hard and important work on this in some tough conditions as well. Another group that has been vital in us making sure we were able to get across the finish line are my colleagues with whom I've had the benefit of serving. Some of them have said at different times along the project, when the development team calls, we can get this done, we can find a way, and we've been able to help push city staff as we keep working through it. One of those colleagues is Councilman Crispin Rea from the 4th District at large. I'll note before I introduce him that he is a child of this part of the city, so he knows how important making sure that we're building more housing stock, building more opportunity is for all of us. So with that, I introduce Councilman Crispin Rea.
Good afternoon. My name is Crispin Rea. I represent the 4th District at large on the City Council, which we are currently located in. I grew up just a few minutes away from this site, and for years, all I knew it was as a large-scale blighted industrial area. It was not somewhere we came to. It was only a place we drove or walked by. And during those years, it was difficult to imagine something productive ever being here again. And it wasn't until shortly after I was elected that I started to truly understand the plans and the folks behind the plan for this location. And my disbelief soon turned to optimism. My optimism soon turned to very, very strong support for this project. I often stand at these podiums and talk about some of the great things we're doing as a city and use the word transformational, and I always mean it. I don't overstate it. But I almost wish I hadn't used it as much because it just doesn't do this project justice to call it transformational. Knowing the challenges this neighborhood has had, this isn't a place that sees a lot of economic development, and I see folks with the Northeast Chamber and others who have spent a lot of time, sweat and blood into this community. This is not a community that sees a lot of economic development, certainly not on this scale. So we are going to be taking a large-scale blighting influence in a neighborhood that does not see a lot of development and turn it into the exact opposite. This is going to be a project that has probably the highest level of affordable and low-income housing that I think we have seen in Kansas City up to this point. It's going to provide a whole host of amenities for those folks across income levels. It's going to transform and be a catalyst for the surrounding neighborhoods. Transformational just doesn't seem to do it justice. But as I have had the opportunity to talk about this project to others, they start with the same disbelief that I originally had, and then when we start getting into the details and the work that's been done, it becomes a reality. I want to thank our staff at the city side in the city manager's office who have put in a lot of work. I want to thank our staff with the EDC who have put in a lot of work to get this stuff done. You don't get this done without partnerships, private and public, city and non-city, and of course with outstanding developers like Arnold Development, Jonathan Arnold, Danny Roberson. These guys have put so much into this project in a creative, in an innovative way. They're going to be doing some things that we have not seen done in Kansas City. We were just spending a few minutes talking about the geothermal that's going to power this place. We're not doing that in Kansas City, but Jonathan Arnold is, and it's going to be right here in the Northeast. You look at what challenges this site has brought historically, and this is segueing into the individual that I'm going to introduce here shortly. We couldn't have done this without the support of the EPA and the years of remediation for toxic and other bad materials that set and festered in the dirt in this location. If we don't have those cross-jurisdictional relationships between the city all the way up to the federal government, we don't get things like this done. And so with that, it is my honor to introduce David Kozad, the Acting Regional Administrator for EPA Region 7.
So good afternoon, everybody. I am thrilled to be here today. Things like this are why we get up and go to work at EPA every day. So Jim Macy is actually our regional administrator. He couldn't be here today. He's on another trip, but he wanted to send his regards. He's very excited and thrilled about this project. As someone from EPA, but just as much a 35-year resident of Kansas City, Missouri, this is very exciting. It is transformational, as you said. EPA's invested $10 million in total, brownfields funding, to help get this going. Back then, in 2022, we stood in this very spot and talked about what this might be, right? What this could become. And today, we're seeing before our eyes that it is going to be all that. This will be a place where residents and local businesses thrive, a place that showcases the very best of Kansas City. I think this is a national news story, this project. It's massive, right? What was once a contaminated, abandoned Army supply storage depot is now on its way to becoming a sustainable place with affordable housing, healthy food, and it's going to change this whole neighborhood, probably in ways none of us can even imagine, right? So too often, contamination stymies redevelopment. It just flat out prevents it, and places like this stay empty, dilapidated, deteriorating. Well, the EPA Brownfields program is about changing that and turning eyesores into assets. And that's why we at EPA were so excited to be part of this. We want to thank Mr. Arnold and the city and Mayor Lucas. We appreciate being partners on projects like this. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Jonathan Arnold, the developer here.
Thank you, Mayor Lucas, and thank you to everyone who spoke before me. I cannot emphasize how important the city's role in this project has been. I would like to thank everyone at the city for their leadership, and we would not be here today without them. I want to start by talking about the building itself, because this building has a story. For over a century, this site has served Kansas City. It started as the National Cloak and Suit Building, where 2,000 seamstresses sewed made-to-order clothing for families across the Midwest. During World War II, it became the Kansas City Quartermaster Depot, supplying soldiers with everything they needed to survive while at war. And for decades after, it served as a federal office. And here's what strikes me in every chapter. This building has been about provision, about skilled hands making sure people have what they need. Today we begin a new chapter, a building that once equipped soldiers for war will now equip families for what they need for life. For the last 2 decades, myself and the team I get the privilege of working with has been studying what works, what actually moves the needle for families trying to build stable lives. And what I've learned is this: the way we typically build housing, isolated from childcare, from healthcare, from fresh food, from transit, in buildings that oftentimes don't last and have high energy bills, this model doesn't just fail to help, it often makes things harder. So we asked, what if we brought it all together? What if housing, healthcare, childcare, a food hall, a community center, and job-connected transit all existed within a 5-minute walk? That's what Historic Northeast Lofts will be, not just 395 homes that we are very proud of, but a complete neighborhood, the kind of neighborhood that used to exist in every American city before we unfortunately often zoned it out of existence. And because of the 3.9 megawatt solar array and battery storage that this project will have, residents will achieve something remarkable: energy independence, no electric bills. That's not a gimmick. That's hundreds of dollars a month that families can now redirect towards savings, towards education, towards building wealth that lasts. When we're finished, these 22 acres will hold 395 homes in the tall building, which we call Building 1, 12 stories tall. 83% of those will be reserved for households earning between 30 and 80% of the AMI. That's teachers, nurses, baristas, retirees, the people who make this city run. In addition, a 30,000 square foot childcare center will be here so that parents can drop their kids off, get to work without a longer commute that extends their evening and mornings and causes stress. We'll have a 20,000 square foot healthcare clinic so that a child that gets sick doesn't mean an emergency room visit that ends up in high bills that people can't afford. In addition, there'll be a community center that has an indoor track and fitness facilities and turf fields for people to get fitness and exercise. And lastly, the space that we're in right now will become a 30,000 square foot public market that is not built on an extractive business model, but one of supporting and growing and job creating and job training. Shouldn't have looked at my wife. And all of it is located along a transit line that connects residents to major employment centers around the city. This is what a neighborhood looks like when you design it around what families actually need. None of this happens without partnership. Mayor Lucas, thank you for your vision for Kansas City around affordable housing and for championing projects like this that serve our residents. Councilwoman Robinson, Councilman Rea, Patterson Hasley, and Bunch, who represent all the 3rd and 4th District, thank you for your leadership and for believing in the Historic Northeast that it believes and it deserves investments like this. City Manager Vasquez, who could not attend today because he's under the weather, sends his regards. If he were here, I would thank him and his entire staff for their professionalism, their commitment to problem solving. To the entire EDC and to Heather Brown, Tammy Queen, I see you here. I'm so sorry for messing up your name. Elisa Canaday and the TIF Commission, and Andrew Bracker, who has been a pioneer on this project from the cleanup of all of the contaminants to date and what is yet to be done. You understood that this just wasn't another deal, and your efforts made it possible. To the entire city staff, thank you. To our design and construction partners, Roseman Architects, and the over a dozen design consultants that helped make this project happen, you see years of creative work and engineering that has gone into the plans and specifications of this project. You all took a 1.2 million square foot historic structure and reimagined it as a living neighborhood, and that's no small feat. To Crosslink Construction, who's bringing their expertise and craft to making this all possible, we're proud to have you taking the lead in building it. I would also like to acknowledge Greg Lombardi and the Likens Neighborhood Association. There you are, Greg. From the earliest conversations and to this very day, you continue to push us to build something that is not just in the community, but is for the community. That challenge has made this project better, and we appreciate this. To the Asian Americans for Equality, who were the previous owners who started this effort, we thank you for entrusting this building with us. And I'll close with this. There's an old vision, one that's inspired by people across centuries and traditions, that imagines a world where we redirect our resources from destruction towards provision, where the tools of war, which these buildings were built for military purposes, can now be turned into tools of cultivation, where every family can sit securely in their own home, unafraid. We're not naive to think that this project solves all that for the world, but for 400 families in the historic Northeast districts, it's a start. Thank you all for all the work and effort. It is a complete village that it takes to put something like this together. Thank you. Now let's build it.
I'm told for some reason to close, and I'll be very brief. I want to make sure I acknowledge everybody who taught us to dream in this area too. As Councilman Rea probably knows, as others of us who inhabited parts of this city may know, often you walk by, drive by, ride on the bus by these structures. And Kansas City has a lot of great ones. And sometimes you wonder, you ask your mom, you ask your folks, what goes on in there? We're able to answer that question now. There will be young people who see something truly special here in the Northeast. They are seeing something that's as great as anywhere, and I would argue does more to bring us together than almost anywhere else. There will be a lot of attention on other developments in this city today for any number of reasons. City Planning Commission, who knows what. This is probably the most important thing that we're working on today, and as Councilman Rea noted, one of the most important things that we'll do. This is why we created a housing trust fund. This is why we work so closely with all of our federal government partners, including the EPA. This is how you got Tammy Queen outside of City Hall today. And I also just want to say in a particular thank you, some of those people who are inspirations for us. You mentioned our current council colleagues who are exceptional. I see Scott Wagner, who has served many roles, frankly, but he has always been a supporter of the Northeast and somebody who talked about this neighborhood years ago when not enough were. I see Bobby Baker, who always calls me, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and says there's more we can do and always come back and focus on the Northeast. And I know there are so many, including our city staff, who have said sometimes this may be tough, but we're committed to doing it. You guys will get a great Christmas bonus this year. And by that, I mean this. So with that, we'll take some pictures. We'll make sure that we celebrate this opening. Thank you to all of you. Happy holidays. A merry early Christmas for those who celebrate with this. And again, to Jonathan and the team, your passion is something that we all envy. Thank you for the good work here. Keep it up, and we look forward to more success here ahead. Thank you all so very much.
Y'all ready to smile? 3, 2, 1.
And see, he's the only one that will.
1, 2, 3, go. All right, thank you. 1, 2, 3, go. 3, go. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.